If we want to talk about why I really left you.
My Yourwetsock, welcome back to another video. I hope you had a great Easter with friends and family. If you didn't celebrate, I hope you had a great weekend. So we need to talk about a lot of things because they tried to convince us that this was going to be the best tell-all ever and 90-Day Fiancé and all the spin-offs history. And I feel like I'm watching the Loser Olympics.
How many times have you told people to not talk
I
about me?
ruined my marriage, but Rob,
Have you ever told? Have you ever told?
my marriage.
No, I'm sick of it!
That.
Tell people everything!
Okay, all right. So, something's going on.
Each part of the tell-all gets progressively harder and harder to watch as a fan that is familiar with the lore, and I'm sure that you guys are having the same issue because 0 people are getting held accountable, and every time something interesting happens or something happens that the host should explore and ask questions and dive into, she instead says, well, it looks like this won't be solved today. Let's move on to the next segment, or let's move on to the next talking point.
You think I for money?
Is a screenshot a lie?
A screenshot of what? Of some random person sending me some?
I don't want to address it, but we can address it.
Leave it. Drop it.
Yeah, just
Dog.
Let's everybody take a beat for a second. So, Kay.
We were so close!
I find it so crummy that they're able to get away with what they've been getting away with. And by they, I'm talking about Sophie and Jasmine. Because when Jasmine brought up that Rob was doing gay porn and was throwing all that in his face, gee, I wonder where she got that from. You know, I wonder where she was fed that information. Sophie is very much a mastermind, a very manipulative woman, and the way that she moves, it's almost like a Black Widow. You know, when you enter a relationship with a Black Widow, you got to have your head on a swivel because she might just kill you. You know what I mean? And that's the way it seems. It seems like Sophie has no gratitude for Rob, who is the reason why she was able to go on 90-Day Fiancé and the spinoffs in the first place.
Right. Some random dude did hit me up asking me to do which I was, and she picked up the phone. But that doesn't mean I've ever done anything. That's just some random
I think they were just looking for things
That's
to
just some random had my number and hit me up.
For those that didn't watch, in part 4 of the tell-all, Sophie accused Rob of being a gay prostitute, meanwhile provided no evidence to back up those claims.
Rob, what are you talking about? You really, like, you keep trying to make it sound like I've ever done prostitution when I haven't.
If anything, after getting more context from Rob in the back room explaining what really happened, I guess a guy reached out to him and offered to send him money to suck him off.
You saw somebody hit me up asking me he my first of all, so I'm not out here for money, but he asked my and he offered me $5,000.
It was $500.
It was $5,000.
And then Sophie blew that out of proportion because Rob didn't even respond to this guy.
He was getting paid to.
Sophie has an OnlyFans and she's been working on OnlyFans for a long time. That would be like if Sophie got a message from a dude, which I'm sure she's got many messages from men and women asking for something in return for money, you know, asking for a sexual favor. So that would be like if a guy offered Sophie $10,000 to have sex with her, and then Rob took that, threw that in her face, even if she didn't respond to the message, and said that she was a prostitute.
Every time he tries to say I'm just going to say about you're a gay prostitute. So.
Okay, everybody, just give us a moment. Just give us a beat. Let's just take a beat.
And there's so much filler. Why is there a whole segment dedicated to doing impressions of each other? That's filler. Why was there that segment where Julia came out with that bondage horse mask talking about how she's sex woman? That was filler, and if anything, that could have got cut out. Instead of all these parts of the tell-all, they could have made one giant part that's 3 hours long so we could get all the tea in one sitting. I'm sure the rebuttal from Sharp Entertainment and TLC would be, well then, we can't fit in as many ads because it's better to separate it in multiple parts so we can get more revenue from the tell-all because all these creatures, their whole life purpose is to make us money. The problem is that you've chased this shock value content route, and dude, we are so tired of that.
You think I for money?
Is a screenshot a lie?
A screenshot of what? Of some random person sending me some?
I don't want to address it, but we can address it.
Leave it. Drop it.
Yeah, just
Dog.
I have the screenshots. I have the screenshots, Rob. She keeps going on and on about these screenshots, but never shows them, which tells us that she's a liar. In one of my past video socks, we talked about how Rob used to sell nude pictures back in year 2017.
What the
And Jasmine was going on and on about how he's a whore because he did that, even though she's an SW herself. She's been an SW for a very long time.
So 500 for Jesus Christ, that's cheap. I would charge 1,000.
Which I'm very curious who told Jasmine about Rob's nude pictures that he sold back in year 2017, because given the way that Sophie moves, it's possible that she's the one that told Jasmine that. You know, they got very close on The Last Resort. They have a whole bunch in common. And you can see that Sophie is someone that prefers to play both sides, especially given the history with her mother and Rob. She will often flip-flop, place herself in the middle, and manipulate both people on each side.
He can knock him down. I'm sick of it.
Don't, I know, it's triggering, but just don't.
I'm over it.
Sophie wrote a long-ass paragraph on Instagram right after part 4 of the tell-all dropped. I don't ever care to address the show, however, people are still supporting an abusive man. He hides it on TV, but even all the girls at the tell-all said how they've all seen how bad his anger is towards me in real life.
All he cares about is convincing everyone. Oh, Sophie's so bad. No accountability. He wants to talk about no accountability. That man has zero accountability whatsoever.
Sophie, you don't actually look bad. I watched it. You don't look bad. He looks bad. He looks like he has bad anger problems. Everybody knows about it.
He also called an unborn baby names and called a pregnant woman a whore. Plus, there's even proof online of him throwing things at me and making me have stitches in my eye. Yet people still want to act like Rob was just the nicest guy ever and I'm just immature because I left. Pretty privilege definitely works for men too, because people see a pretty outside and ignore his inner character. I left Rob because he was abusive, but I didn't want to say it on TV. Furthermore, I didn't out him being gay. I'm literally part of the community myself. I outed him cheating and prostituting. Doesn't matter if it's the same genre. If you're married, that's not okay. People have zero idea what I actually went through, and I'm tired of the false narrative put out, to be honest. I have accepted that people will only believe what they see on TV, but at the end of the day, it's a show for the purpose of entertainment. You do not see what happens behind closed doors. I have never said a single lie about that man, and if you look online, you will see everything I've said is true. That man hates women, as you guys can see. He didn't argue with a man who literally tried to get at his wife because he only attacks women. My life without him is very peaceful. Being around him is traumatic, and I don't care to speak on it anymore because my life does not revolve around a TV show. And at the end of the day, I know what I went through and have worked so hard at healing from it, so that's good enough for me. First of all, Sophie, Rob called Jasmine a whore and her child a bastard because they're the dictionary definitions of those words. She also posted this, and I want to add, for all the people who have been in similar relationships as me and dealt with narcissists, thank you for making me feel heard. And I hope me speaking out can help anyone else going through something similar realize that you deserve better. Also, to anyone else who supports me and shows love, it means a lot. I am excited for you guys to see my journey and get to know what I'm like when I'm not in a traumatic relationship, LOL. As I have really been working on myself and healing now that I've removed anything toxic from my life, spread kindness. Then she shows that she's in Las Vegas. BBL Sophie is here. She's at the Cosmopolitan Las Vegas. Okay. My question is, why does Sophie think that calling Rob abusive is worse than accusing him of being a gay prostitute without presenting any evidence to back that up? Also, if Rob is so gay and abusive, why did she have sex with him multiple times even after they already broken up? Why did she stay in the relationship for this many years? Why didn't she call the police and report the abuse if that did in fact happen? We've all seen videos of Rob screaming at Sophie and saying terrible things to her. I agree that that was verbal abuse. However, I also recognize that Sophie is a reactive abuser. Sophie is an op that triggers Rob off camera, then pulls out her phone to capture him freaking out.
If we want to talk about why I really left you.
Remember that when she claimed that her mom posted those videos without her and Rob's consent, she put out a public disclaimer saying that Rob has never been physically abusive to her. And it's interesting because she'll say something like that, and then fast forward, she'll say that he's abusive when fans call her out for the way that she's moved in her relationship with Rob.
Look,
Rob, at the end of the day, we all know who the gay one is, so please just leave me alone.
Who is the gay?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm noticing a pattern here because that's exactly what she did on the tell-all. Have other cast members or people do her dirty work for her and then jump on the bandwagon to make Rob look as bad as possible, all the while talking about screenshots that she never shows to the audience, the host, or the fellow cast members.
All he cares about is convincing everyone. Sophie's so bad. No accountability. He wants to talk about no accountability. That man has zero accountability whatsoever.
There was that scene when she was accusing Rob of messaging other women. She conveniently left out that she gave Rob the permission and asked him to message other women. And then when Rob brought that up, all of a sudden Sophie walked away. She didn't want to talk about that anymore because she got caught. She didn't want to show the screenshots of that because she got caught. This woman is a liar that wants to make Rob look as bad as possible and will sabotage him any chance she gets.
He was getting paid to...
Here's the thing, you can get all the boob jobs you want. If you treat whoever you're with in a relationship like this, like an op, you're never going to find somebody that's going to give you the love and devotion that you want and that you deserve. And to be honest, I don't think you deserve that level of devotion and trust and loyalty when you move like a complete snake. This relationship was drier than the Sahara Desert, and they prioritize looks over finding someone that makes you feel like a kid on the inside. Ooh woo. I tell the young Sophie that you don't need to lie about people to make yourself look better.
Even if she was bi, doesn't mean instantly... You know, but she's straight, but no. He knows full well nothing has ever happened
Have y'all never
between me
seen a
and
good
Kay.
friend?
But most of all, I tell the young Sophie that just because you don't want him anymore doesn't mean you need to try and paint him out as gay so that other women don't want him either. Rob and Sophie from the reality TV show 90 Day Fiancé got married in June 16th of year 2023 in a small beach wedding in Santa Barbara, California. And as I'm sure you guys are fully aware, shortly after Sophie and Rob were married in June 16th of year 2023, Sophie found videos from another woman on Rob's phone and moved in with Kay, who many fans believe is in love with Sophie.
Rob, do you think there was anything sexual between Sophie and Kay?
I don't know.
Rob, come on, you know damn well there's not... Play.
Not to mention, can we be honest and talk about what a load of bullshit this is? So your friend finds out that their partner's cheating on them and you offer to have that person move in with you. At what point do you tell your friend that they need to work this out with their partner? They're married. It's wildly inappropriate for you to be living with me, even though you found out that your partner was cheating on you earlier in the relationship before you got married. You still have to work that out with them.
Like, I'm just a really good friend. Like, my friends are like the other half of my soul. Like, if she is going into a war, I'm going to prepare and go in there with her. Like, it's not like...
You and that energy, going into war, this was me and my wife working on our marriage, so you don't need to do anything.
I've been scavenging through the dark corners of the internet trying to find these screenshots that Sophie is referencing, and here's what I found. A Reddit thread titled, "Sophie dropping some interesting things on Instagram right now. Here is the real reason I first left when he pushed me into a table because I was trying to break up with him because I was scared of him. I still have a scar in my eyebrow from the stitches I needed. He would throw things at me when he didn't get his way like a man-child, and I thought this was normal at the time. Also, if you want to be really real, fuck it. I'm so done protecting him. More truth is that man is in the closet. He gave head to a man while we was together. I truly hope he comes out of the closet and finds happiness, but having sex with any gender while married is most definitely cheating, smiley face." Very loaded territory I'm venturing into, especially because the majority of women are inclined to believe women when they make these allegations. The problem is that Sophie's a pathological liar. So given her history of lying, I'm going to need to see evidence that Rob pushed her into a table to believe those accusations. Regardless of whether it's a man or a woman, if they have a history of lying, I'm less inclined to believe their accusations. As for the second slide, it's incredibly misleading because Rob was obviously trying to throw a water bottle at her phone because she tilts him off camera, then whips out her phone like a creep to document him acting irrationally so that she can use that against him at a later time. But regardless, if Rob did in fact throw a water bottle at Sophie, that is considered assault. As you can see here, assault is a misdemeanor offense in California. Sophie should have called the police instead of collecting ammo. And as for Rob, it was a bitch move to throw a water bottle regardless regardless of the circumstance. Rob is way older than Sophie. Currently, he's 33 years old and she's 26 years old. The smart thing to do would have been to not throw anything at the person recording you and call the police. Once on the phone, you could tell the officer that your girlfriend you just broke up with is recording you without your consent and will not leave you alone. You would also need to tell the officer that this person is antagonizing you so that you act out on camera and she captures it. Ultimately, this is a relationship Rob should have never entered in the first place, and the signs of her acting like an Amber Heard have been there for a very long time. As for the last slide, Sophie has no evidence that Rob is a gay prostitute. Otherwise, she would have actually shown screenshots at the tell-all. Once again, I understand that many 90 Day Fiancé fans don't like Rob. However, given Sophie's history, she cannot be believed at face value at this time. There are many emotional thinkers that believe women just because they're women and project their own experiences with domestic violence and assault. The reason why you can't let your own personal experience cloud your judgment is because the 90 Day Fiancé creatures lie about abuse and other loaded things all the time. Take Jasmine, for example. She is now accusing Gino of human trafficking her. Can we take a step back and talk about this and think about this for a second? After using this guy for a green card and after only 6 months of being married here in the United States, she got caught cheating with Matt, the personal trainer at Planet Fitness. Gets kicked out of the house. Fast forward, goes on The Last Resort Season 2, fabricates an entire false narrative on that show with the help of the fake therapist, the network, and even Gino. Shows up to the tell-all pregnant with Matt's kid, and she has the audacity to say something like that? Human trafficking is one of the most evil things a human can do to another human. Mary faked colon cancer, for God's sakes, and people actually donated to that GoFundMe. They need to come with receipts or shut the fuck up.
Lies.
Is it a lie?
You think I for money?
Is a screenshot a lie?
A screenshot of what? Of some random person sending me some?
I don't want to address it, but we can address it.
Yeah, in the words of Whitney Houston,
The truth is the numbers speak for themselves. Whatever.
Go, honey. Twirl on that.
90 Day Fiancé update posted, here are screenshots of Rob's reply to me about Sophie's recent allegations that he physically abused her and that he likes men. Rob gave me permission to share this DM. So he said, first thing I will say is I've never hit a woman in my life, not ever. I'm also not gay at all. It's 2025. I wouldn't need to hide it, and I'd be a lot more successful in Hollywood if I were, trust me. But it's just not me. Lastly, I've openly apologized to Sophie in front of the world for being mean. Well, this is her recording me being me. Disregard that my wife was clubbing and not coming home for weeks. Disregard that I only ever asked her for consideration around the house. I blame myself for everything when she finally moved out. Officially, I tried to fix it. I shouldn't have ever gotten angry, but anger in response to wild disrespect was all it ever was, never physical. I also never threw any of her stuff away. The table I threw away was my table. She said it was ugly and it made the apartment feel like a man cave. So I got frustrated and threw it right as she tried to act surprised that I was throwing it. I let myself get frustrated with her. Our season of Happily Ever After was filmed after all of this. I knew I was wrong for ways I had treated her. That's why I put up with so much to try and make it up to her. But this in response to having one receipt for an accusation is just wrong. Let me know what you guys think about this. It does make sense that Rob is trying to right the wrongs that he committed at the beginning of the relationship, given how much he's willing to tolerate present day, because it was very obvious from the minute that she went on the show The Last Resort Season 2, she had no desire to work their relationship problems out. If anything, at every single turn throughout this show, she has been trying to make Rob look as bad as possible. Fast forward to the tell-all, coming at him with loaded accusations without providing receipts. Yeah, I mean, we can all tell what it's been about. Sophie and Rob's segment is so boring, it's like watching paint dry, but the good news is that 90 Day Fiancé update posted a little clip of Kay talking about her friend Sophie. Check this out.
Honestly, I'm like every night praying to the Lord that they break up. Please don't tell her I said that. I just cannot stand this man. If I could have this perfect world, Rob would be out the and it'd be me and Sophie forever. I marry her, I do whatever I need. Like, that's my bitch. That's my bitch. She's the other half of my soul. You know what I mean?
I'd marry her, I'd do whatever, that's my bitch. And you say she's just a friend, and you say she's just a friend. Have you guys ever talked to a friend like that? If I said something like that to Malik on Discord, he would be like, bro, you're gay as fuck.
She's never been in therapy. I've been in therapy my whole life. And so like I told her, I was like, therapy is like a really good situation. Like,
Oh, I know, it's triggering. It is triggering. Don't, just stop. It's okay. It's okay.
In what universe is throwing an emotional tantrum like a fart-faced kid a panic attack?
Just having a panic attack.
Josh isn't even a good friend, but he seemed way more concerned for Rob than Sophie was for Kay. If anything, she seemed very annoyed by Kay's outburst because of how negatively it would make her look. When it comes to Sophie, nothing's more important than her own image.
He can knock him dead. I'm sick of it.
Don't, I know, it's triggering, but just don't.
I'm over it.
We live in a world where cowards are way too comfortable making up lies about other people because their fragile egos can't take criticism.
Is a screenshot a lie?
My Whatsapps, hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think about this trash relationship and how it ended in the comments below. Comment below, subscribe. Love you, man. Love you, man.